Hi, it's Jan Peter, and as you can see, this is another Commodore 64, and this one is severely dead. I already took this apart, meaning it ripped itself apart in transit. I think it was held together before, but all the little hooks are broken off, and some of the screw standoffs are also broken off. So yeah, I could try to fix this with some epoxy and maybe some 3D printed parts and stuff, but I have a better idea that I'm gonna talk about later in the video. So here's what we have here, and I can show you what it does when I turn it on. It briefly shows me that there is an input coming in my little converter here, which I don't recommend. I only use it for testing purposes because it really sucks for. It has a good picture for still pictures, but the moment you start playing a game, it really lags and has issues. It doesn't lag really. It has issues with the frame rate, and movements don't look good on it. Basically, that's what I want to say. So yeah, it basically gives us a black screen. Switching it off again and on, and it briefly flickers, and there is a signal coming from it, but it's black, which tells me that there is some video signal produced in here, but nothing much else going on there. So let's see. Okay, there it is, our board, our dead board. Let's have a visual inspection. So I'm taking off this shield here because I'm gonna take that off later on. Anyway, so here's our board. Looks pretty neat, except for some thermal compound being put all over the capacitors there. But that's probably from factory. It's not uncommon in these, I think. Because there were humans that put this stuff on there. Let's clean it off altogether. So, can't see anything unusual there at first glance. There are some sockets. I wonder if they are meant to be there, or if there's been repairs on this one. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it has been repaired. So the solar residue in this area is nearly a dead giveaway. So that's this one here. It has been socketed. So there was tinkering going on there in the VIC department, which I think is a thing we should have a look at, because it's showing a black screen, and this is the video chip, and these chips are basically giving the video chip the signal rates and stuff like that. So they are giving them the timing. So if one of these fails, you will probably get a black screen. And there has definitely been some replacement going on, but that has not necessarily to mean anything. Could be that these chips are perfectly fine. I think I want to take some voltages, which is always a good starting point if you're repairing something like this. Check if the voltages are present, and I'm going to check the voltages on the user port, because that's where the voltages from the important voltages basically for the ICs are coming from. I suspect the VIC is fine, and the timing issues, because the screen gets the video signal. So maybe something wrong with the supply voltages. Let's see. It really could be anything. At this point, it's a black screen, it's Commodore 64, so it can be a lot of things. I haven't even tried to put a diagnostics cartridge in there, but as always with electronics, it's a good start to take some voltages. Okay, let's try and get some voltages. Can you see the whole board? Yes, you can. So, switching on the power, switching on the Commodore. So I have this on volts DC, and there should be 5 volts DC here, I think. There's absolutely nothing. No, there should be 5 volts between these. Yeah, there's no 5 volts. So, look at that. That's more like half a volt. That's definitely not enough to power any ICs there. That's 10 volts on the 9 volts AC, which is fine. No 5 volts! So there's a problem right there. Let's see if the regulator produces 5 volts. This is the 5 volt 7805 something. I put this to ground, and the rightmost pin is the 5 volts. Yeah, and it produces 5 volts. The 12 volts one should be 12 volts on the rightmost pin, which it is. So these are fine. Let's see if we get something from the power switch. Okay, there's our 4.45. That's not much. Okay, that's a bit. That's our voltage. 4.41. That's the voltage coming from the supply there. Yeah, and that should be switched to here, I guess. Okay. So maybe that's our problem right there. So maybe we got a wonky power switch. So there's our little power switch, and I'm going to try to spray some contact cleaner in it. To maybe... It's quite a common thing to happen on these Commodore 64s, that these get clogged, and there's some lubricant in there. I think probably something silicone-y that it hardens, it stiffens over time, and sometimes it prevents it from making good contact. So maybe that's the whole issue. I think the other voltages we measured here are coming from the rectification, so they are ultimately coming from the 9 volt AC that is also switched. But the 5 volt don't appear to be coming through here completely. So maybe that little bit of contact cleaner at least brings it back to life for a second there. Let's look at the solder joints. Yeah, well, also, these are not even soldered on here, but I suppose that's okay. I don't think I've seen this kind of half-soldered stuff here anywhere. So where's a good ground connection? There should be ground somewhere. That's our ground. Okay, the ground is on the front there. So these are not going anywhere, these are not connected, okay? So it's okay if they are not soldered. These are the switch, basically this is the switch position in which the switch is off. So these don't need any contact, but for good measure, you could solder them in anyway. So that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna refresh the solder joints there, just to rule that out. Maybe I will have to take out the switch and replace it anyway. And what I do, this is just a quick reflow of stuff. It's not very well soldered in there. I'm adding some fresh solder to have the flux. There we go. Another Commodore. So there's juice on that. This should go in here. Let's see. So this one is switched. And this one isn't. Yeah, so that's supposedly our whole problem there. They are supposed to be, these are probably the 9V AC that are switched. And these are the 5V, which aren't switched in our case. So I think I'm going to desolder the power switch. There's definitely something wrong there, I think. It should switch to 2 lines there, and it only switches 1. And there we are. Have the old desoldering station out, and people keep asking me about this. Still recommend this, and I made a video quite a while back, one of the first videos I made on this channel. I will link that in, where I make a brief review of this, and yeah, everything still stands true. I had to clean this sometimes, but it's not a big deal, and it just works a treat. And for the money, you won't get anything better, I guess. It's, yeah, still highly recommend this. And I have a donor board where I can salvage one of these switches from. They are not easy to get because I think they are no longer in production. But you can of course always hack something in there, but yeah. Okay, desoldering the old switch. Shouldn't be too much trouble. So there we are, some wiggling. So here's the spares board, and there's a switch, and it's gonna be exactly the same, so I'm probably gonna edit this out. Or at least significantly fast forward this. Wow, it was a hell of a lot easier on the other thing. So there we go. That's our switch, and it's damn hot. Wow. There's our switch. And it looks exactly like the other switch, only it's a bit bigger. Oh, okay. It's a slightly different model. So okay, let's make a quick test here. So it should be on in this position, and these should be connected, I think. No. Is it on, or is it on this way? Yeah, so these are connected. And these are connected. I'm gonna turn it the other way. These are connected. Are they? Yes, and these are connected, and these are not connected. And these aren't connected too. So yeah, this is working. This is a working switch, the other one isn't. So putting the new old switch into the broken board here. It's definitely something. Yeah, there we go. Fits perfectly. Of course, because it's the same type of switch. And I'm gonna solder in all of the connections here, so for good measure. Because it's always better to solder all of them to make it hold better in place, I think. No matter what the connections what connections you need. It's always better to have more solder joints there to hold the switch, which these are made for in the end. So that's probably a good idea. So this is literally better than before, I think. It feels a lot better. And does it look okay? Yes, it does. Looks nice. Okay, so got it hooked up again, and let's see if the voltages are present now. Oh! Seems to have helped a bit, at least we get the kind of sign of life. Let's check the voltages anyway. So here's our multimeter. 5 volts DC. 5 volts DC. 9 volts AC, or well, 10 volts in this case, I guess. Yeah, 10 volts. So, that's a bit better than before, at least. So, the switch was definitely faulty, but there seem to be other faults. Let's try a diagnostics cartridge or two. Okay, here's my self-made dead test cartridge. Dead test going on. And it takes a while for the dead test to start, as you have seen multiple times. Oh, and we have a totally garbagey screen. Okay. So that's interesting. Does it do anything? It has some red spots there. That means there's stuff. There's stuff that's bad, I guess. I hope it's none of the expensive chips. The VIC-2 and the SID and the PLA are all quite expensive. But look, it's working. There's our cursor checking the color RAM. So we can probably also hear the SID test. So yeah, I think we have some work to do on this one. Ah. Okay, SID appears to be fine. That's a good thing. At least the SID is fine. Yeah, so let's look into this. Let's test with the other cartridge, I guess. So here's my self-made Commodore 64 Diagnostics cartridge. And it also has a switchable 1541 floppy disk drive diagnostics on there, which is pretty fancy. Let's see what that does. Okay, still garbage screen. Okay, but it's not too bad. It's better than before. It now has some juice to work with. That's not too bad, I guess. So I went on to clean all the sockets and reseat the chips. And have the dead test card reinserted here. So let's see what we get. Oh, there we have a flash. And if the dead test card flashes the screen on startup, flashes it a couple of times, and this appears to be one flash. Then there's a pause, and there's another flash. Yeah, there's a second pause between flashes, between groups of flashes. So this is flashes one time. So let's take a look into the manual, what this means. So here's the manual. It's not the camera that's shaking, it's my laptop. I'm holding it with my left hand. One flash means that it's on a ref A or B. We have a ref B, if I'm not mistaken. It should be the RAM chip at U12 that is faulty. So I guess we're going to try and replace that. So the RAM chips are these ones here, 8 RAM chips. I also suspect the MOS chips, which are always, these are replacements for 74 logic chips, and you can replace these by equivalent 74 logic chips from other brands. MOS produced these because MOS was part of Commodore back then, and it was cheaper to have them produced in-house. And these are notorious to fail because MOS couldn't produce these in a very high quality. They made these work, but from the beginning these were prone to fail. So it might very well be that one of these is faulty, or this one maybe. There have been, I think there are other ones here. This is one I replaced in a previous repair, if I'm not mistaken. But the other MOS logic replacement chips are also prone to fail. And I think these are multiplexers for the RAM chips. So there might be something rotten there also. But let's take a look. U12, I think is, I can barely read the silk screen because it's so flashy. U10, U11, U12. This silk screen on this board is really, it's really not very high quality. I think this one is, this is U11, so this has to be U12 maybe. So I'll make a little cross there. And when I turn it on again, it also flashed 5 times, which means U10. So I'm going to desolder U12 and U10 in one run, because I have the desoldering station anyway, so it's not that much of a big deal, hopefully. So I'm going to do that. And it could also, because it flashed differently a couple of times, it could also very well be that one of the aforementioned logic chips is faulty, so, but it won't hurt to socket some chips anyway. There we go. Okay. Oh, and I broke off a trace there. Look at that. I managed to break a trace. That's not cool. Okay, and even though I have a desoldering station, I lifted the trace there. That's pretty bad. And it is the connection to this point here. Yeah, and I lifted it on this here too. So I have to make a bridge from here to here to here. Yeah, because they are all connected in parallel. So let's see if we can get the other one out without hurting anything. Usually I wiggle the pins to make sure they are free. If they are wiggling, this one isn't, so I will re-flow that a bit. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, that helped a lot. Seems to be free now. Cool. So now it should go out without any damage. I think, I hope so. Yeah. Okay, so this one appears to... yeah, this one worked better. So I have to fix up the board there and make some botch connections. So this should go to this point here. All right. So that's the Ben Heckendorn method for not using too much wire. And it works quite well. You just melt away the isolation and basically use your soldering iron to remove it and solder at the same time. So let's check if the connection is alright. And we don't have any shorts to anywhere. So, yeah, okay, the connection is there. Connection is there. Yeah, that's great. Now for putting some RAM in there. There's our neat sockets. And I have some neat RAM chips somewhere. Where did I put those? I have some neat RAM chips. And it's 4164 RAM that was used in the Commodore 64. So these were pretty common, but they are no longer produced, so all you get is new old stock if you're lucky. And I got some, but I'm slowly running out, so maybe I should get some more at some point. Because it's a common failure on these Commodore 64s. So, yeah, I guess we can make another test run. Okay, I put the new RAM chips in there, and I have the dead test cartridge in there, so let's see. Oh, and that's back to flashing stuff. Number one is flashing, number one. Okay, so that's the one we replaced. So there's something wrong with the data lines. What does it do? I don't connect anything. Gives the garbage screen. Alrighty. So there's something else rotten there. Oh, there's our diagnostic. U23 is bad also. Okay. U23. Might be U23 also. Check that. It's another RAM. I still kind of suspect the multiplexer chips there. The MOS 7708 ones here. That might be bad. So I determined that these MOS 7708 are 74 LS257 chips, which I have on my spares board here. So, and they are already socketed, so I guess I bought some at some point to replace the 7708 chips somewhere. So I'm going to desolder these anyway and try if that helps. I think I'm gonna start with the top one here, because the arrows shown were with the top bank here. I'm always using the so-called precision sockets because I like them better, the ones with the round holes. They are a bit more expensive, but in my experience they grab the chip better and make better contact. And also these often have gold plated contacts, which is pretty nice, I think. It's not that it's necessary, but it doesn't make things worse at least. And I think it takes forever till they corrode and fail. So here's my chip, and I'm going to put it in the socket. And I hope that these work at all. So plug it back in. Plug back in. The screen back in. And oh, look at that! Forgot to switch it off, and we are at our startup screen. Yes, that means at least it didn't make it worse. Okay, so maybe the RAM chips weren't bad after all. So I can maybe replace them with the old ones. Let's try that. So I think it was the what is it? It's one of the notorious MOS chips again. This one here, which is U13, I think. Yeah, but it is supposedly it was the one 7708 MOS chip that was in this position here. That was the culprit for our fault. Okay, plus the power switch, of course, that was the first culprit. Okay, here's some diagnostics for you. Hope it works. But I have no doubt it will. That was probably just this. These MOS chips fail very, very frequently, so that's, yeah. I have to check if the RAM chips are okay, so I can maybe replace them with the original ones, because it doesn't matter, really. So I'm going to try to put the old RAM chips back, I think. That's an idea. Or maybe, yeah, that's the only way to determine if they were really broken, I guess. So, gonna try that. Otherwise, this seems quite healthy to me. Okay, put the old RAM chips back in, and what do you know? It's still working. So, these weren't bad after all, and it was just the MOS chip. So, broke the traces without any reason for it really, but troubleshooting sometimes is a bit difficult on these old things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this anyway. I'm gonna do my usual routine on this, and going to replace all the caps and put heat sinks on this, and then I am going to do something about the case, the broken case, which I don't want to show yet, because I don't want to spoil one of the next videos. And one of the next videos is going to deal with the case issue. So I'm going to try some stuff on this and try to load some games and stuff and see if it works. And then, yeah, I'm going to continue this in the next video. Okay, so I determined for half an hour or so that this Commodore 64 seems to be working fine. And so this concludes this repair. I have some more plans for this, considering the case and some mods I want to do to it. So stay tuned for the follow-up video to this one. I'm probably going to link it in somewhere the moment I have made it, but it's not here yet, and so this is this repair for now. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this stuff, consider giving this a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to this channel, there's gonna be more like this. Consider supporting me on Patreon. I will link that in here and in the end screen. Yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed this. I'm Jan Beta. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again on this channel sometime soon. Yeah, bye. See you next time. I'm Jan Peter. I can't talk and play at the same time. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't have a retro gaming channel thing going. I'm actually better with repairing stuff and talking than with playing stuff and talking at the same time. Don't know why. Anyway, bye.